The Airweigh Quickway is on the unit. It is lighting up, indicating that it's ready. So then now we have our oversized load sign on the back. So here is the Airweigh display. We are upside down. We're rolling around in the office and scrambling out to the shop. Bay 1, we got a Trail King. We're doing our world famous redo on the suspension. The override valves, people will fool with this manual override valve, and then these things can be a bit of a pain because they have, you see that valve right there? That's called a pilot valve. They can be quite a pain. So over the years, we have started to swap these over to a push-pull valve. It just seems like a much more trouble-free system. If you have the pilot valves, you'll chase them around. There's always two. You see there are two right beside each other. You'll be chasing them around. One of them will go out, then the next one will go out. If a push-pull valve goes out, it's just out. You know which one to replace. So we've been trying to swap that out. The fun project that we're doing today is oversized load sign. So we are going to make some bracketry for the rear. This is Anthony. Anthony is making bracketry for the rear. Basically, we're going to be putting steel tubing, like inch hollow tube with 1.25 inch tubing. Make you some pockets down the main beams, and then you put the other tubing inside of it, and then you can pin it on. You have a reflective oversized sign. DOT really loves you having 12-inch letters, but that constitutes like an 18 by 80. So most of the time our customers ask us to do these. They're a 12-inch overall sign, 72-inch wide, and 99% of the time nobody has any trouble with it. The other fun one we're doing is Airweigh scales. So I'm going to run upstairs and grab us some scales while Anthony measures his tubing and grab the box of Airweigh, and we'll show you what that looks like. Boom, boom, boom. All right, they're finishing up the square tubing. This is a Quickway digital PSI and onboard scale. What this will do is you plug them into your suspension. It'll tee off from your airbags. So this will tell you however many leveling valves there is on the trailer. In this case, there is one leveling valve, that blue valve right there. So if there's one leveling valve monitoring 3 axles, that will tell you how much weight is on these 3 axles. These, I think we sell these for about 350 bucks. Takes us about an hour to install them, and it'll keep you from having to go to the scales so often. Or maybe you're in Alabama and you have to pay per pound for your permit, and you'll know exactly what kind of permits you need on your trailer. You can do these on the truck, trailer, anything with air suspension, or with we can even measure it on your steer axles if you don't slide your fifth wheel too much. If you do slide your fifth wheel, there's another system that it measures deflection. So inside the box, you get one Airweigh scale. This goes via Bluetooth to your phone. It kind of comes with everything you need. Wiring, nylon hose, brass connectors, hardware, and then a mounting bracket. So you could use this bracket to mount it in several different ways. I think on this one, we're going to hang that bracket below that flange there. And so we'll have it mounted right in that area, so you'll be able to see it. It'll be Bluetooth on your phone. So imagine you have the neck detached. You're loaded up your piece of equipment. You reattach the neck, hook up your air, and now you're in your excavator. And before you chain your excavator down, you can go ahead and be looking on your phone and seeing, do I need to move my excavator back a foot, forward a foot, to be able to scale it and get the proper amount of weight on these tridoms. So I think you're allowed, depending on what state, roughly 20,000 per axle, so 60,000 for this back axle grouping. And do you want to get as much as you can to the back, and then the rest of it needs to go on to the truck side. So that way you'll have enough weight where you need it. So we'll go ahead and get started on this oversized load sign, and then we'll scramble back around here and get this airway scale on. These load signs are good because they're actually reflective material on there, and they're pretty rigid. Aluminum backing and rigid material. We got to put mud flaps on here too. All right, Anthony's back at it. We got the #1 trailer here with a Millermatic 255. We got our pieces up here. We're going to tack weld them, and then that way that'll be our little kit so we can put these other pipes. These pipes, show them, Anthony. They fit down in there or something? So now you can remove it all together, and then we'll also make like some little pins so you can fold the sign up and down, or you can remove it all together. Just jank it out of there. Just yeet it out of there. And we got to put TM trailer mud flaps because it's got these loosey-goose mud flaps on there. All right, watch your eyeballs, everybody. So he's kind of tacking those together, and then he'll run a bead down it. And then we'll be good to go. All right, fantastic. All right, so the brackets are on. Now we can slide the square tube down into those holes. We'll get it pinned on top of the oversized sign. This is where we're going to mount the Airweigh scales. So it'll take 2 bullet style connectors. That'll be so you can supply power. And then he's teeing off of the air lines that go to the airbags. So you'll just run a small little airline. It'll already have a protection valve included in that system, so you don't need to add a protection valve. And it'll monitor how much pressure is on your suspension. So that little, what is that, 1/8 inch? Quarter inch line will go into the back of the unit, and then you'll supply constant power here off the same. Did this one come with a breakout? So that's another thing that you may need when you're installing one of these, is what we would call a breakout wire. A lot of these low boys will already have a constant power supply wire, but if not, they have basically like a T that goes in the electrical system, and that way you're not having to cut into your factory harness. All right, so then after that you'll have power on there. You'll download the app, or you can scan the sticker and it'll take you to the app. You'll calibrate this scale by, you'll go to the cat scales, you'll weigh the trailer empty, tell the unit the empty weight, and then you'll go loaded. So when you get your first heavy load, you go back to the cat scales, you tell it what the heavy weight is, and then it creates a formula to let you know what's on your trailer. And it's usually very accurate, within 1% accuracy. And so what that looks like for most of my customers has been 20 pounds off, 100 pounds off, you know, on a 60,000 pound load or a 60,000 pound reading. So that's pretty cool. I'll swing right back. We'll revisit this whenever we get the oversized sign completely done up, and I'll show you kind of how that works. Yeah, this is how the decal guy could tell. He was telling on his camera, he said that's where it showed up at. There's a guy down in Miami that does decals. Really awesome guy. He works for one of the towing companies. They fly him all around to decal all the banks and stuff. All right, so we got all these valves out over here. I mean, these are a mess. You'll chase these things down, put one on, and the next one will go out. They'll last for 3 or 4 years, or sometimes just a few months. They go out again. Those things are a huge problem. So what we're going to do on this one is add push-pull valves. This is a much more robust system. I don't know why everybody's not swapped over to them. It allows for complete control over these. Let's go see how they're coming along on the oversized sign. All right, so all we got to do is they got them all painted. We just got to drill holes to it, and then we'll be able to put the oversized load on there. All right, this is fantastic. We're all buttoned up and we're done. So right now, The Airweigh Quickway is on the unit. It is lighting up, indicating that it's ready to be programmed and calibrated. All that entails is you get your empty weight, go get loaded, come back, get your heavy weight. Right now it's reading in pressure, PSI, but when you go to calibrate it, you'll set it up to read pounds. So it'll tell you, hey, you have 60,000 pounds on your rear 3 axles. Again, you can set that up on the truck, even the steer axles, and you could set that up on your trailer, or if you had a flip axle or a pin-on axle that pinned on in the back right here, then you could put that on your flip axles as well, or even on a Stinger. It can go on a lot of stuff, save you lots of time, lots of money. There's UPS, they're real friendly. Okay, so then now we have our oversized load sign on the back. You can unpin it here, take the whole system off, or you can take these wing nuts off, pop it down and fold it down for not when you're not in use. So that's pretty good. I'm going to run y'all back in the office and show you the display model for the Airweigh scales. So here is the Airweigh display. This is the Quickway unit. This is the Load Max, or can be a Load Max Plus. This is the unit that will go on the dashboard of your truck. And then you can see here it'll calculate the steer axle, drive axle, and trailer axles. So that'll all go to your driver right in the dashboard or on the application on his phone. This is the one that will go with this. This Quickway can be mounted on the drive axles of the truck or the trailer axles. And that'll allow you to load once, load legal, and go. You know what you need as far as permits. You'll know what permits you need before you get started. These things are incredibly accurate. The most inexpensive one is these, and they're only about 350 bucks. It only takes us about an hour for most applications to be able to install them. If you enjoy these videos and you want me to post more, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll continue to post quality content on heavy haul trailers, trailer repairs, and just everyday in and outs of business.